Chapter 11. This Ain't Kansas. It was late afternoon, still bright out around 5:45 p.m. when Vicki checked the clock above the radio while they cruised north on surface streets. She watched young men and boys throw bottles and cans at other drivers. All Terry had to do was glare at the boys for them to back off because Vicki could see from the rearview mirror that Lamont was pointing his handgun out the window of his car towards the rioters. They came to a stop behind a small delivery truck with a Kansas state license plate. The man behind the wheel of the truck honked as people continued walking across the street on the green light. "Get him!" yelled the young black and Latino men as they rushed the truck and forced the door open. Terry covered Vicki's eyes with a large hand a little too late. Vicki saw past Guanyin, a white man with long blonde hair, being punched and forcibly pulled out. The white man fell on the ground as the men started kicking him. She could hear Hakim and Lamont's shouted attempts to break up the crowd. Once the young men had stripped the driver of everything of value, they left him for dead on the street next to his looted truck. "Beep it," said Terry as he opened his door to join the others. "We need to move his body." "Beep! He's still alive," said Lamont. "We can't just leave him here," said Hakim. "I know. Put him in the back," said Booker. Vicki watched the men open the back of the station wagon, put down the back seats, and load the broken but still semi-conscious man in the back. They pulled the cars into the parking lot of a strip mall in front of a small grocer. The Cadillac and Camaro parked side by side facing the street. Lamont got out of his car. Gunshots went off from the building behind them. "Get down, Vicki," said Terry while using his right arm to pull Vicki down with him. "We got a man down," yelled Booker. "Go away," yelled men on the roof in Korean accents. "No want you here." Vicki peeked up at the rearview mirror with Guanyin looking down on her and then above the head of the semi-conscious white man to see Asian men on the roofs of the stores, each one aiming shotguns at them. "Where am I?" muttered the blonde-haired fellow. Vicki looked back down to see a pair of dazed and confused swollen eyes crack open. She knew she had the power to do something and went for it. Vicki held her small hands out the window, showing the men on the roof her pink lunchbox as she yelled, "Don't shoot!" In her tiny, squeaky voice. She pushed a car door open with her leg and slowly slid out, turning to face them. "Aish!" said one of the men on the roof. "Wohe!" shouted one of the men on the roof to another to stop aiming his gun at her. Vicki walked close enough for the men on the roof to clearly see her face as she held the lunchbox high above her head. "Ku urin sonyo?" Yu-Gi-Oh, said one of the men on the roof, gesturing with an arm for Vicki to come to them. One of the men disappeared out of sight. "I'm with them. One of us is hurt. We need to call an ambulance," begged Vicki. A man that looked like one of her uncles opened the boarded-up door to the store, grabbed her wrist, and pulled her inside. "Gwen Chana," he said after closing the boarded-up doors. He asked more questions in Korean. "I don't know what you are saying. The guy in the car needs help," said a visibly upset Vicki. The uncle yelled something up the ladder to the roof, and a young guy climbed down. "You okay? Did they hurt you? Where are your parents?" said the guy who looked similar to one of her older cousins still in high school. "I'm okay. The guys in the cars are my friends. My parents are in Chinatown. They were taking me home when we picked up a white guy who was beaten up. He needs a doctor." "Namja Chingunen," started the cousin. The uncle passed along the information to the men on the roof with a walkie-talkie. "What's going on?" "Wait right here," said the cousin as he picked her up and seated her on a small stack of rice bags away from the doors and windows and handed her a small carton of chocolate milk. "There's a mob of looters coming. We got people on the roof of the electronics store down the street shooting to keep them away. Don't worry, you'll be safe. Those guys have been in a lot of wars in Korea. They know what they're doing." "Can you let my guys in?" asked Vicki. Bam, bam, bam. An exchange of gunfire could be heard over the walkie-talkie as the men on the roof talked down to the ladder to the uncle. There was a ruckus outside, and the doors to the grocery store swung wide open. Lamont and another Korean man carried the bloodied body of a Korean teenager and placed him on a checkout counter. "You okay?" said Lamont while he spotted Vicki. "I'm fine. The others are guarding the front, watching over the white dude," said Lamont as he limped over to her and pointed to the counter. "He's 17. His own people accidentally shot him." He sat down on the bags of rice next to Vicki, whose arms were hugging her lunchbox. There was blood coming from a bullet wound in his leg. "We need to call for help now," gasped Vicki to the men around her. "Police, firemen, ambulance, no good. We call for help, no come," said a more mature Korean man as he brought over a first aid kit. Others were taking care of the teen while the old man retreated Lamont's leg. "This not enough. You and the guy in wagon need a hospital too." "We don't have a hospital around here," said Booker, coming in the door. "We need to get out of here." "On Wilshire near the art school and MacArthur Park has one," said Cousin Guy. Lamont struggled to stand up. "We need to take Vicki home to her parents in Chinatown." "Take him home too?" asked the Korean medic with a hand on Cousin Guy's shoulder. "What's your name, kid?" "Andrew." "Where's home?" asked Booker. "Koreatown near Vermont on 7th Street. "Okay, Andy. There's room in the station wagon. We can take the injured boy to the hospital too." "I'm driving the wagon this time," said Booker. They shuffled out the door with Vicki following. Hakeem helped the men move the teenager to the station wagon. Gently, they laid him side by side with the blond man. Vicki saw smoke from burning buildings all around. A mixed group of Black, Hispanic, and Asians were helping each other put out some of the fires while others ran around with looted goods. With Vicki sandwiched between Andy and Booker in the front seat, her growing entourage of beaten-up men headed towards the skyscrapers of downtown LA looming in the distance.